All right, people, it's time for us to have a conversation because something is about to happen. Do you feel it? Do you feel that everything is up in the air? You're hearing contrary information on the exact same topic. One is absolutely one way, the other is the exact opposite, and there's no way to make heads or tails of the entire thing. Yeah, I'm about to offer you a little bit of a perspective because this is the point where you need to start watching what happens because the left thinks they have it. I've told you this in multiple live streams. They think that they have won. They think that Trump is gone. They think Republicans are gone. They think conservatives are gone. They think MAGA is gone. They think that they have completely and totally won the entire argument. Well, this is going to be a bit of a variety show, and I'm going to show you some trends and some things that are happening that you need to be fully aware of because we're going to make heads or tails of this, and I'm going to show you something that is going to happen very soon in the next couple of days because you know that thing I told you about where the Democrats really like pointing out problems and making big issues about problems, but then when they start talking about their solutions, it all falls apart. That's what we're about to start watching. I got all of it right here for you. This is going to be a show you're going to want to send out. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on every time that you engage with the show with either a comment, a chat, a like, emojis, the shares, the subscribes. It fuels the entire system. And let's get into this. Of course, you can follow me on X at Braden LOA. Loving to see you guys. We've got audio, video. We've got doing this. Freedom says, honest question, are you going to stop pining for Pam Bondi? I don't even know what that means. I just like the thumbnail design. All right, so here's the thing. We're going to dive into this. We got enough people to start this process, but I want to show you something, and I think that this is a really excellent opener. You know how I said that nothing's really making heads or tails? Like just from the person who just kind of views in from the outside, doesn't focus on it all the time. It's just like, yeah, everyone's saying the exact opposite. Everything's contrary to itself. And basically, if you fall in camp lefty, you know this is the truth. And you fall in camp righty, you know this is the truth. Yeah, this is a good example of that. Watch this. Okay, so this is one of those accounts that got smoked and exposed for being Canadian and trying to be Politics USA, even though they're again Canadian. You remember, guys? We got to go big for this. I'm sorry, we have to. This is one of those things where I have to function as a guide on this. You remember the polling, the generic ballot, where the big news story for 24 hours about 4 days ago was that the Democrats were up 14 points in the generic ballot? Let me know in the comments in the chat over here if you remember that story that we covered. MS Now covered it, which is the new name for MSNBC, CNN, Harry Inton, they all covered it. It was the end of the Trump era because it was 14 points above. Do you remember that? On the generic ballot, Democrats, oh my God, blue tsunami territory. Yeah, 3 days ago. Well, oh my God, look at this, guys. Awkward. Democrats are up 5 points now. You have to understand what's happening. They use polling as propagandistic pushes. So, for example, when they have a poll that's a complete and total outlier, a year out from an election that's 14 points above from a very poor performing pollster, all of a sudden that's gospel. But then a week later, or 4 days later, or 3 days later, now all of a sudden it's back at 5% and they got to do some more offensive there. It's all over the place. It's all meant to invoke feelings of despair in your brain. That's what it's meant to do. Okay, here's the reality check. And this is why I do these shows. This is why I do these things, because I genuinely cannot stand watching them propagandize you. It just bothers the crap out of me, because to me, it's incredibly transparent. But anyway, let's look at this right here. The Democratic Party favorability, minus 22.9. Republican, minus 12.9, or 12.8. Well, wait a minute. That sounds like people like the Republicans a little bit better. They're both crap sandwiches, but at least the Republican Party has some sugar on the crap sandwich. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of a better analogy. Anyway, let's keep on going down here. This is an important piece. This is, again, Real Clear Politics. This is an aggregate of all polling. This is not just one. This is all polling. I'll show you in a second. There you go. Same numbers, same numbers. Generic congressional ballot. You remember this one? Let's just go into it real quick. Let's do this on the fly. Watch. This is how we do. Excuse me. This was about 6 days ago. Remember how I told you that all the polls, the average was like between 2 to 5? And then there was one magic one that was all of a sudden an outlier that they were taking as gospel. You see that? That plus 14? Y'all, this is why I do these things. If I scroll down right here, and again, this is all tying into the point of this entire show, just bear with me. 8, 2, tie, 5, 4, 6, 5, 1, 5, 14, 2, 5. What do you think the average there is? Do you think the average is at 14? Or do you think the average is, I don't know, maybe at a 4.8, which, by the way, puts Democrats this far ahead, and it's almost the toss-up. I mean, my God, they were breathlessly screaming from the rooftops 3 days ago that it was plus 14. Now it's plus 2, plus 5, and the average is 4.8. This is why I'm doing this, okay? Because I'm trying to add clarity, because the propaganda levels are insane. I mean, genuinely insane. And here's the actual ballot from the aggregate. It's about 5 points, which mirrors exactly this, Polling USA's, from Canada. Right there, generic ballot read. That's why this is so important. And I'm about to show you a bunch of things because they're about to start talking. And when they start talking is when it really gets fun. Okay, here we go. I'm going to open this up. Usually I do a little bit of an appetizer before I do some of the meat. That was some of the meat that I wanted to get to you ahead of schedule. This is Jillian Michaels, okay? This is her talking about left versus right. I don't know if you caught this clip, but this is the underlying problem. This is why everyone didn't vote for them in the midterms. This is why everyone didn't vote for them in the general. This is why everyone, pretty much elected Trump, not a Democrat, in the House, Senate, and every swing state, and the popular vote. It doesn't boil down to much other than this big piece right here. And again, emojis, comments, and chats make the world go round. People, let's get them.
All that they do is divide and race bait and spew hatred. Oh my God.
How do you really feel?
Oh God, and the thing is, I've been in both of these camps. I speak from personal experience. I've been the Marjorie Taylor Greene character in so much that suddenly you find yourself talking to Hannity on Fox News. And you're like, wait, how did I get here? But Hannity never tried to destroy me. The right never tried to destroy me ever. And I went on Fox News to discuss what we had in common and then try to explain some of the things that we didn't. And subsequently, I went on CNN to try to explain some of the things that both sides have in common and some of the things that we see differently. And to be honest, the left is far less open to that conversation. It goes both ways. And the left is never interested in bridging ideologies. They don't show up for debates. They only launch into ad hominem attacks and shout you down. My invite to Leslie Jones, my re-invite to Abby Phillip, Ashley Allison. It's all the same story. Van Jones, he was never showing up to talk to Charlie.
All right, you guys get the idea, right? It's the underlying wag your finger nanny state. That's the entire principle of the entire thing. They are relegated to an eye roll. Now, the propaganda has been unrolled, at a astronomical level over the past 2 weeks. Ever since the Democrats got their butts handed to them in the shutdown, or if you're listening to the Democrat leftist media, and since the Republicans got their butts handed to them, literally, I'm going to cover that in a second. It's all over the place. But the propaganda has gone from 80 to 8,000. It's almost like they're concerned about something. All right, let's keep on going though. That was just the entry level. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Listen, this is a big part of what I was just referencing. I'm going to show you the two extremes. Breitbart, only 8% say Democrats won government shutdown battle. Okay, someone tagged me, and I appreciate that. And you can follow me on X at Braden LOA if you'd like to. It's right there. And then, after you get the 8% say Democrats won government shutdown on Breitbart, that's a right-leaning site, then you go to Harry Enton on CNN, and all of a sudden, on pure politics, it's clear that the Dems won the shutdown. Wow, this is clear. Clear as mud. This is why I'm trying to do these shows for you, because I'm trying to show you all the things in aggregate. This is why this is so key, to zoom out and look macro at this stuff, and then you can fine-tune into micro, okay? You've got the right going, Democrats lost, Republicans win, no-brainer. You got the left and the leftist media going, Democrats won, Republicans lost, no-brainer. And then an entire segment, which I'll do in a second. But then you start to get them talking, and this is the whole point. I'm going to come back to CNN's Harry Enton in a moment. I'm trying to build momentum into this to tie this all together and weave this tapestry, okay? This is what happens when they start talking. You get righties and you get lefties. And when the lefties start shifting from they're evil, they're bad, they are horrible, and they start going, we want to do this, is when the entire thing falls apart, which I'm about to show you in a second. But before I do, Watch. This is what Vivek Ramaswamy said. You can love him, hate him. He's got some good points in this clip. Watch this.
It's a free country. If AOC or anybody else wants to run for president, let him. I think for our side, we would be better off not just focusing on the insanity of every strange proposal coming from the woke left or the far socialist left. If that's the direction the Democrats are going, so be it. We need to offer an affirmative alternative ourselves of who we are and what we actually stand for as Republicans. Now, President Trump has delivered on his campaign promises quickly, sealing the border, delivering international peace in places like the Middle East, and that's great. But the question for us is, if that's what the next generation of Democrats is doing, where are we heading as the next generation of Republicans? And I think the clear answer is we're the party that stands for the revival of those American ideals, the American dream. Colorblind meritocracy, capitalism, the best system known to man to lift people up from poverty. They're headed in a socialist direction on the other side. I want to make sure we're not the less socialist party. We're the actual pro-capitalist party.
All right. We're going to set up camp on this for a second, guys. Listen, come here. This is something that I've been touching on. I've been preaching a little bit. I've been talking about. You're going to hear me say it a lot more. It's amazing to own the libs. I love owning the libs. It's something that gets me up in the morning. I genuinely enjoy it because I believe that their ideals legitimately discriminate against people, break into meritocracy, infringe upon hard work, and they give it to people who don't deserve it, all the rewards and accolades, through redistribution of wealth and promotion. I genuinely believe that. I've lived through it the entire time. I worked in corporate America for about 10 to 15 years. I felt the sting of that lash at the very beginning, all the way through the middle until the Trump era. Trust me, I get it. But you can't just operate on owning libs. And this is the part I need you to send out. If you agree, let me hear you in the comments, the chats, and in the emojis. You can't just operate on owning libs. You have to own the libs, make their points crazy, make their proposals crazy, and then offer a valid alternative that actually pays off for people. And I'm not saying they aren't doing that. There are areas that they are doing it well, and there are areas that are opportunistic. We're working on it, like I like to say. But when you're talking about when they're talking about all of these pieces, and I'll get to these super chats I'm seeing come through in a second. You have to offer the alternative of hope. You have to offer something to motivate people with a why. Why should I vote for you? Not because I'm not that person. You can't do that. This is not the 90s. This is not the early 2000s. You cannot vote just on party identity. People do not care about party loyalty and party identity. People care about the why and what you're actually standing for and what you're articulating. And then if you follow through. This is the point that he's hitting on. A colorblind meritocracy providing capitalism as a relief against socialism that the left is doing. You see what the left is doing. You see where they're going. Provide the alternative and a better argument and articulate your point and frame it from a perspective that's better for the individuals and give them a why to stand up and revitalize their country. That's where we are at. The owning the libs thing is great, but it cannot be done by itself. That's my point on that thing. All right, back to Vivek. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments on that one. I thought that went pretty well, personally. But anyway, let's keep on.
That's who we are, and I think that's what we want the next generation of Republican leaders to actually stand for, rather than just the easy task of really identifying all that we're obviously against.
Yeah, I know you want to elevate this conversation, Vivek, but I'm just going to get catty with you here. AOC, is she a liability or an asset to her party?
I mean, the truth is, Rachel, I don't really care, but one way or another. They put up Mamdani as their nominee. He's the person who's ultimately a socialist who they elected as mayor of New York. So if you're sitting in her shoes, maybe you say, hey, this is the future direction of their party. They actually want actual principled ideological socialists. That's for the Democrats to figure out. But I think our job is, the risk we fall into here as a party, Rachel, is that they offer such horrible ideas that we just regress into just dunking on the worst of what they put up, rather than offering an affirmative vision of our own. And I do think this is a risk.
Okay, this is such a good point. It's very easy to capitalize on the stupid. It is easy just to capitalize on the stupid. I'm going to turn my own the libs on button on for a second. It's really easy to capitalize on the woke stuff. It's really dumb. Everyone. Hey, well, I'm a ficus. You're a ficus? Yeah, I'm a ficus. Okay, what are your pronouns, ficus? Broadleaf and evergreen. Okay, broadleaf and literally, it is the most tortured, stupid thing on the planet. And that's just one example. Or I'm going to tax everyone out of their brains and go through a socialist state and provide everything from cradle to grave, and nothing will ever go wrong because governments have never killed 100 million people of their own populations in socialism in a 100-year time period in the 20th century. I mean, literally, they stack it up and you just slap the crap out of it. It's the easiest thing in the world. But you have to offer something other than they're stupid. That's what he's going after. And I think that he's right on target, to be quite candid. But anyway, let's keep on going. We got even more for it, because this is the conversation point when you're going to start hearing common sense and you're going to hear crazy. And this is where it starts to transition a little bit. Frank Luntz, I'm just going to keep on going. These are on the roll. We feel pretty good emotionally here. But before I throw Frank Luntz, I got some super chats to get to. I did see them come through, and I owe them to you guys. I do not want to leave you out in the cold. Adrift, as it were. Ruby Who with a $10 super chat says, Happy Thanksgiving. Ruby, you get a heart. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you guys as well. All right, the Jay Stanton 2 with a $5 super chat says, I love Pam Bondi. I would marry her if she would have me, but it's time for President Trump to show her the door. I personally think that's probably going to happen. I don't know, one way or the other. It just feels, I don't know. My gut's kind of screaming on that one. Stay tuned, I think, on that one. I don't know. We'll see. And then Ruby Hoob again with a $5 super chat. It's amazing how certain news people sound exactly the same in what they say, have the same script. If they don't have the same script, they get the same talking points. I'll tell you that. They might say it in their own voice, which you're going to hear in a second again, because we are just rolling on this train of freedom. And yes, they are demons, says Plum Tired. Subtle. I like it. I'm here for the subtle. Okay. Let's get right back into this. No, Frank Luntz. And guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Comments, chats, emojis make the world go round. I appreciate it if you guys could do those things for me. All right, listen. Frank Luntz is hitting on something here. And we're going to hit about a minute and a half of this, 2 minutes. This is about the whole, hey, military, stand up to illegal orders, the Democrat trap that they laid, and then Donald Trump literally was like, parachuting like on D-Day and the 101st Airborne right into it. Woo! I mean, like, good Lord. Anyway, watch. This is Frank Luntz on this.
I want to ask you about the recent video by Democratic lawmakers urging troops to not obey illegal orders. First, what was your reaction to that? And if you saw any reaction among the cadets at West Point that you work with?
Well, that's politics, and West Point does not do politics, does not do partisanship. My first reaction was, why the hell did you put this video out? I know you're trying to poke at him. Of course you don't obey an illegal order. Of course there are standards and processes that our military has followed, not just for decades, but for centuries. That's a given. You're doing this just to create a political issue. And shame on you, because there are men and women who are serving in Japan, in Korea, all over the globe, in the Middle East, in other Asian countries. And this is Thanksgiving. And they're not home. And they're sacrificing for this country. And you're playing politics at this point?
We're going to talk about Thanksgiving, but the reaction.
Okay. Y'all, this is kind of what I was just saying. They're going to pull their stunts. When I saw them do that clip, I didn't even cover it on this channel because I genuinely knew exactly what it was. It was a PR politics move meant to agitate the right base and meant to agitate Donald Trump and get him to respond and then make the story about his response, not about their catalyst. That was the entire thing. Everyone knows it. Everyone knew it. That's why I didn't cover it, because it was stupid. Frank Luntz is hitting it as well. You're playing politics with people and you're playing politics with military, and this is what I mean. When the Democrats run out of things to start hitting on, they start talking, and when they start talking, really great things happen. You just have to provide an alternative and a counter to it. That's it. It's that simple. We're about to accelerate rapidly from this point. But that's the entire point. You're seeing all of this data that's saying the right is dead, the left is dead, everything is dead, it's all over, it's all gone. You have to look at the aggregate and look at the macro, because it's very, very clear what's happening right now. You're being propagandized out of your brain. All right, speaking out of your brain, man, how was that for a transition? Oh, I swear, I'm happy that worked out. All right, listen. Oh, who didn't miss Joy Reid? Man, this one. All right, so hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, comments, chats, emojis. If you just, I don't even know, disagree, want to see less of this, she's about to go crazy. Because one of the favorite talking points of the left, for some reason, when they get on their boxed wine mom podcast that's really popular on the left right now, They start going after this whole J.D. Vance and like Erica Kirk thing. It's really weird, but anyway, that's apparently full airtime. They must have nothing to talk about. Watch this. Again, going towards let them talk and be crazy.
Is fundamentally racist. Yeah. I know people don't like it when you say it, but it's the emergence from the Tea Party to MAGA.
Yeah.
Tea Party, when you finally did the actual data, PRRI and others, the thing that most motivated them was race and hatred of non-white immigrants. Mm-hmm. What most motivates MAGA? Hatred of non-white immigrants. They're obsessed with non-white immigrants and undocumented people. They use the term illegals, which is just the N-word for brown people.
100%.
If you want to say the N-word and it's about brown people, you say illegals. I'm sorry I said it again. That is me saying the N-word about that is what it is, right? And that's what motivates them. So they can't have the successor to MAGA be the guy with the brown Hindu wife. They're also Christian nationalists. That ain't gonna work. That's why he's throwing his wife under the bus. Poor Usha. Or she's in on it, right? And she's
playing slap and tickle with Erica Kirk's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Yeah,
Okay, listen, they're clearly run out of boxed wine because like this is, you know what this is? It just hit me. The woman on the left, this is one of the new little rising stars on the left, the one who like stands up and really progressive. She's like Shannon Watts, only unrefined. She's like the 2-year version of boxed wine, and Shannon Watts is like the 5. That's what I'm feeling right now. Because it's so baseline stupid. If you say undocumented immigrants, I said it. That means it's the new N-word for brown people. I'm pretty sure that undocumented immigrants can go towards any race of person. It goes to a classification and status of being illegally admitted into this country. It doesn't go for, checkbox, is that a race? Yep, well then I could call them that. Stop being an idiot. Everything isn't race. Believe it or not, everything's not race. It can just be, you're in the country illegally, therefore you're illegal. What race are you? I don't give a shit. You're in the country illegally. It's asinine beyond belief. But anyway, let's keep on going because, misery loves company, and this is just, good Lord.
She's like in her Tammy Faye era.
Okay. Holding on the back of his head and rubbing on his head.
Some weird shit.
Baby. Don't do that to Jason. I'm going to start thinking something's going on. Why are you holding the back of his head? I'm like, you're not doing that right thing. You're supposed to be a widow. You in leather pants?
It is.
That's not widow wear.
Could you imagine if...
Wouldn't it be the most perfect fairy tale, MAGA fairy tale?
Yeah.
If he finally sees the light that he needs a white queen instead of this brown Hindu. I mean, I'm not saying that's happening.
Right.
Or maybe that Usha's not even in on it. Maybe she's whatever. But that's one entrant. Another entrant is frankly.
Okay, I can't do it anymore. I can't, y'all. I mean, how do I address that without getting in trouble? I could get in trouble for describing the microphone that you see in front of me. But Joy Reid can go out and say that the perfect MAGA fairy tale is for J.D. Vance to divorce his wife Usha, who he has 2 children with and who has been married for a long time together, for Erica Kirk, and that will be like the MAGA white nationalist Christian fundamentalist fairy tale ending. I don't even know where to go with that other than just holy balls. It is wild if I said something like that. Just saying. And also, a little fun part. Again, we're getting into the crazy part. This is the fun part. Another thing, if a conservative or a Republican or even an independent who leans Republican, anybody on the middle to mid-right would say, how can you wear leather pants after your husband was just assassinated? I mean, like, oh my God. That would be mansplaining. That would be judging. That would be not knowing her truth. I mean, like, my God. It would never end. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. Oh, look. Speaking of doing whatever you want, and this goes back to the point of just let them talk. So this is a little thing that's happening in the Democrat Party, and we're going to see this a lot more. And guys, if you're seeing this and you're hearing me on this and it makes sense and I'm landing the plane, let me see the emojis, the chats, the comments, because I need the reinforcement. Listen, it's kind of weird, to be quite candid, in a moment of full transparency, to get on here and talk to you guys about the 2 points that they're going to hit the most in my estimate, like my hypothesis, was going to be affordability and accountability. Republicans were going to go after accountability, and Democrats are going to go after affordability. Those are the early moves that I predicted they were going to do. I said, I think that's what they're going to do. Then you have leaders of the Democrat Party come out and literally start to embrace redistributionist policies around affordability. It's wild. Watch. James Carville. This guy, this account is a leftist. Wow, this is from James Carville. It really is starting to feel like economic populists have won the debate. Economic populist, by the way, is the new term for socialists on the left. Just letting you know, socialist redistributionist. Our haters have become our waiters. Time for us to build a table of success for the Democratic Party. And this is all about James Carville basically saying it's time for Democrats to embrace a sweeping, aggressive, unvarnished, unapologetic, and altogether unmistakable platform of pure economic rage. This is our only way out of the abyss. That's affordability. And what do they do first? Then they start talking. Watch this. This is the perfect summation of this, and then I'll tie it all together here for you. All right, James. Get in here. Boop.
Let me ask you a different question about taxes, because I think taxes, historically, Republicans have called for lower taxes. Democrats have called for higher taxes. Philosophically, and given the inequality and wealth disparity in the country, what do you think is an approach that actually makes sense and makes sense to those being taxed as well, even those at the highest rates?
Let's try 39.5, which we had during the 90s, which is the most prosperous decade we've had since World War II. Why don't we try that? And there's not an iota of evidence that says that cutting taxes on wealthy people creates anything other than more wealth for wealthy people. So, and also, if you look at under Democratic presidents, economic growth, stock market growth, GDP growth, it's not even close. So this is raising taxes on high-income people to a rate of 40% it's not only the economically wise thing to do, it's the moral thing to do.
That was the key point. You have to, if you don't hear anything he just said, hear that. It's not only the economic thing to do, it's the moral thing to do. You remember when Joe Biden said it was the most patriotic thing in the world to pay more taxes? You remember how well that went over? Yeah, it went over like a lead balloon. Because at the core base of this country, we're a meritocracy. That's why everyone hates DEI so much. That's why everyone hates the special privileges given to people to redistribute the privileges of the nation, not based on hard work and equity, of equity of work product. No, it's about equitable outcomes. Because it's not fair that you have that advantage over that person. Sure, you worked harder, but you had other advantages that they didn't have, so they get a little leg up, but you don't. And that's supposed to be, you're going to work harder and be happy because they get the spot, right? That doesn't make any sense. At a base level, we are a meritocracy. And this is where it falls apart for the lefties. Because then they start talking about the moral high ground of taking more of your capital when you want to work up into that. You're aspiring to make it into that. And so when you get there, we're going to penalize you more because it's the moral and ethical thing to do. Yeah, let them talk. Because if this is the move that they're going to go down, they're moving out of affordability and they're moving into redistribution. Redistribution is incredibly unpopular. I don't care what consultant they're talking to. Redistribution of any type of wealth through increasing in taxes is not popular. It's just not. Because no one likes paying their taxes. It's easy. It sucks. Anyway, let's keep on going.
Do you think people will leave? I mean, one of the things that we've seen, obviously, within the United States, and I thought this, look, 10 years ago, if you had asked me whether people would leave New York City or leave certain states, I didn't believe it. I don't think I appreciated, especially now, people of great wealth have access to private planes, can jump on planes. It's a whole new, where the mobility of people has shifted in a way that I don't think I expected.
Well, if you got to pay all the things that people have paid for in this country and all the sacrifices they've made, if you can't live in a country with a 40% tax rate on your income above $500,000, then go, dude. We don't need you. Go somewhere else. And you sit here and drive on the highways and your workforce that's been developed by American taxpayers, the defense that you got, and, you know, if 40% is too much, go.
Yep. Open with this. Open with it. Run with it. Continue to go on it. I'm excited for you. I fully endorse the Democrat Party going with this lane of, quote, what was it? Hold on. It's like they let this stuff out in front before they do interviews. It's time for the Democrats to embrace a sweeping, aggressive, unvarnished, unapologetic, and altogether unmistakable platform of pure economic rage. Wow. So you're either going to pay 40% in taxes because you drive on the highways, which is a little bit of an Obama angle tie-in that they used to do, or get out of the country. Yeah, that's going to go over like a lead balloon. By all means, induce your unapologetic economic rage, because if this is it and you start talking, I want you to talk more. In fact, let's book you on 18 more shows just like this, because it doesn't work. It's comically bad because they're really good at pointing out what's wrong with everybody else, but they suck in their policies. All right, let's keep on going, especially when they start to take other rights away. Hint, hint 2A.
Go to Switzerland.
Real quick, though, what do you think about a lot of the blue states in America? And I say that because in New York, most people at the highest rates are paying close to 55%, maybe more if they're living in New York City. Sometimes closer to 60%. What's sort of the top for you?
I don't know. I mean, I know it was 39.5 in the 90s. Okay, that was what. And by the way, Manhattan existed in the 90s. It still exists today. If all the millionaires are leaving, why do I run over them left and right when I'm walking down Park Avenue? But again, if a person's value of the country is relative only to its tax code, then that's a moral judgment that you've made. But you can't tell me that we can't have a tax rate of 40% on all income above, say, $500,000 a year. You just can't tell me that. You can't tell me that carried interest is moral.
Morality and ethical. The government is going to come in and mandate you give 40% of your income, everything that you make, and they're going to give it to someone else or some other redistributionist scheme because it's the moral and ethical thing to do. You see how that conflicts with itself? And this is where you get into the big point of this entire video. And if you guys are just now watching, I hope you go back and watch it. It's kind of a hodgepodge of clips, but it was all going in the same direction. When you look at what they've done over the last 2 weeks, the full-on propaganda push, it is heavy, it is fast, it is insane. And it's got you thinking that, wow, well, are we really this bad off? The truth is, no, you're not. But anyway, we'll continue to go on and reinforce that. Because they do the exact same thing to us in the 2A space. They do it to us in the gun world. They do us all of our rights. Anything they want to do a full propaganda push on, they do it, and they do it well. But this is the point. They've spent the last 2 weeks criticizing and demonizing and ad hominem attacks on anybody and everybody that they want to. The second that they start talking about policy and the things that they want to do for their country and their vision for the country, which is constantly shifting, it goes downhill so incredibly fast because, as Vivek Ramaswamy said in the very first part of this video, let them talk about their socialism, offer them something better on the front end. You do that, you will win every single time, hands down, no contest. And that's what I've got for you guys. So I hope I landed the plane. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a hodgepodge, but I hope it all came together in a beautiful tapestry of freedom of which we've constructed, and it's ready to share, so make sure you do that. Listen, guys, I love each and every one of you just the right amount. If I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you on the next one.